Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Anything Bowl Where Anything Goes. My name's Miguel.
I'm Brendan.
And welcome, folks, to episode 92, where today we're going to cover the fun, brand new story of a bald boy, Avatar: The Last Airbender from Netflix, along with a little movie that was kind of weird and psychedelic, Drive-Away Dolls.
Was not expected.
Not at all.
Like, we saw one trailer and
Especially
just went
the
into
Miley Cyrus cameo. That was fucking out of nowhere.
all the cameos.
Every single one, including Matt Damon. So let's get into it.
Okay.
So, Netflix's Avatar: The Last Airbender is the second time we've seen the live action.
Yes.
$120 million budget. I wasn't even going to ask you to guess because sometimes they give you a budget for like per episode. Sometimes it's the whole thing. 15 per episode?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because some episodes definitely look better than
I
others.
just watched an episode this morning on it.
Oh, about how the...
It was mentioned casually, but I remembered.
Because it's Netflix, and Netflix also doesn't give out like their viewership analytics most of the time, outside of them going, this is the most watched thing we've ever had, I really don't have anything to go on besides a website going 16 times more viewers than a usual Netflix show.
Yeah.
Don't know what the fuck that means.
It's a big deal.
What are they comparing it to?
Stranger Things,
But yeah, but Stranger Things isn't like an average Netflix show.
The Witcher.
Netflix puts out a lot of stupid
They
shit.
do. They put out garbage.
They put out some real garbage that we might talk about in the end. Compared to the Avatar movie, which is just called The Last Airbender from 2010. Can you guess what that budget was?
Too much. Should have been zero. Should never have been made.
Should never have been made, no. $150 million. It made about $320 international. It was a bomb.
3
Bad.
point.
$320 million.
Okay.
Nobody liked that one. That's why we have this one instead.
Yes.
Can you guess the Rotten Tomato score for the original? And then we'll see.
The animated or the movie?
Oh, no. We know the animated is like 100. Everybody loves that
okay.
show. It's a cult classic, a show that I have never watched all
Way
of.
beyond cult at this
Yeah.
point. It's just a classic.
What do you think the Rotten Tomato score is for the original movie? The movie we wanted to watch. I wanted to watch before this to have like background knowledge,
yeah.
but I'm really glad I didn't.
17.
5.
Mm.
The audience score is 30 though.
A nice
so
solid
there's a little,
5.
so there's a little bit of improvement. Now the most recent one.
Yeah.
What's the Rotten Tomato score? Can you guess?
I'm going to go with like 84.
59. It's
Mm.
rotten at a 59.
Is it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Audience score 75.
Okay.
So how do you want to get into this? Do you want to talk about like the overall look? Do you want to talk cast first? Do you want to talk set pieces?
We're just going to chip away at this.
Chip
just
away at the whole
piece
thing?
by piece.
Okay.
Just going into whatever. Cause
So then let's talk cast to start.
okay.
Because this to me is probably one of its biggest strengths and its weaknesses. Right?
Yes.
So I'm coming from this as somebody who has seen a chunk of the original cartoon and some of The Legend of Korra and the original live action movie.
Okay. I just
but
want
I've
to give
never-
my background then.
Yeah, that's fine. I've never watched the entire thing.
Okay.
Like I've definitely seen like parts and pieces, or maybe I have watched it because it was always reruns and shit. Yeah, that's my background. What's yours?
I've seen both Avatar and Korra
Oh, I know, you're-
about like 5 or 6
yeah, you're a
times.
diehard.
And like most recently was like a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I remember everything as a whole, but there's minor details and everything that this show is doing
Mm.
that I'm like, I don't remember that, but I don't know if I just don't remember that specific scene
Yeah.
or if it's wrong.
Are you talking about when the Avatar shows up?
So I saw that and I was like, that's weird. But I
But
didn't
also kind
think-
of cool.
But I didn't think anything about it. I'm like, the animation on him is just a little wonky, but it's whatever. And then like when he's like floating down from space and like flying when he shouldn't be,
Oh, Aang in the beginning?
Yeah.
No, I was talking about when Kyoshi shows up.
that was dope.
That was okay. So cast, biggest strengths and weaknesses. I fucking love Katara. Like
He's-
whatever the actress's name is.
Go.
Oh no, you put in your head. I thought you were like signaling to me that you had something to say.
I was, but then the cough drop shifted and broke, so I can't talk.
Yeah, so now it's gross and it tastes like menthol.
Mm-hmm.
So Katara, I love. I think whatever her name is, who I'm not going to attempt to butcher to pronounce. She's great. I think she embodies Katara, like the innocence of her,
Mhm.
really well. I don't know if she's going to handle the badassery, but I also know by the time that season 2 of the show comes out, these are kids that are going to grow up a bit more. So maybe she will.
That was one of the things I did see with her that I didn't like. Is the badassery part when
Ah.
Katara's hair comes down?
Yeah.
You know she's like just real.
She's in it. Yeah.
And her hair came down in this when she's fighting.
It felt more like fan servicey rather than like earned.
I wouldn't say. I'm gonna break that down. Give me a minute.
Okay.
So
I'm fucking passionate right now.
she did it, and it wasn't that it was wrong or it was whatever. I didn't really feel it in her.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have the same problem that I have with other shows where it's rushed
Mm.
to the same extent as like Percy Jackson's show, where like every episode is just like, okay, next, 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 next. But this is coming in where you're saying it wasn't earned.
Mm.
Because it's only 8 episodes, you
There's a
have
lot you got to cram in.
the beginning and the end, but they're hour each. So if you take that in, it's like 16 half-hour episodes, which the original show is probably closer to like 20. So you are cutting
season?
out some shit. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's something that I didn't notice until I was halfway through the show, that you don't even realize when you're watching the show, is at the beginning and the end of all of them, and even in between, it almost feels like filler when you're watching it sometimes, where you just see
Yeah.
they're talking
Mhm.
and Katara's just waterbending and doing whatever, and
Yeah.
Aang's just being a kid and doing whatever.
Mhm.
But because they don't have that in this show, Katara got a little too good too quick for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, I didn't like that at all. She went from like, "I don't know how to waterbend," to by the end she was like, "I'm fighting against this master, and they're
And
calling me master."
and when they're doing all those things in the
Mhm.
animated show, even though you're not seeing her genuinely be better at waterbending, you get that she's better because you see, like, subliminally, you're, like, remembering that,
Yeah.
like, she's constantly working on
Yes,
this.
because, I mean, the show, it just feels like the cartoon, there's so much more time that passes,
Mhm.
and even though each one of these is an hour long, it's funny because each episode feels almost formulaic where you're like, "Alright, problem, working on the problem, random action beat, new character who's going to exposition dump the fuck out of whatever's going on, and then another exposition dump, and then a closing action, and then a what's gonna happen in the next episode?" That's
A lot of those are actually just, like, what the episodes were.
yeah,
Like, in the wow, that just exploded.
I know, yeah. They work, but they're not very good. Nothing like a right cough drop.
So, like I said, some of the episodes are longer, but
Mhm.
they're doing whatever with it. It should add up and do
Yeah.
whatever, but, like, one of my favorite episodes in the animated one is the
Mhm.
Masks one. It's what they sorry, this is still just killing me.
Yeah, I could feel it from here.
The one where Zuko puts on the mask to save Aang from prison
Oh, yeah.
is one of my
The Blue
favorite, like,
Spirit.
ones from the animated one,
Mhm.
but they
They fly through that shit.
made it an hour-long episode when the original's only 30 minutes, and it still somehow felt quicker, and I don't know how
Yeah.
they managed that.
Huh. No, it felt like right, so the way that they characterize Zuko in the beginning, and it's correct from what I remember from the cartoon, in that he's really just this aggravated, obnoxious kid who just wants to beat the fuck out of the Avatar. And I feel like the 180 of him going, like I understand he has to save the
Yeah.
Avatar to capture the Avatar, but the 180 of him going, I hate this guy, I gotta kill him, and then instantly he's like, yeah, but I'm gonna put on this mask and I'm gonna go save him. I'm gonna use my swords, and then it doesn't feel.
Well, no, that wasn't out of joy, that was out of selfishness.
I know.
He needs to be the one to save him, so he
Is
broke
that
him
what he
out.
can?
And, like, that I definitely got that, and then it was
Mhm.
even Aang being like, "Oh, but you saved me, so we're friends." And he's like,
And then instantly
"Fuck
he like
off, man."
fired in
No,
your
I
face
still
and shit.
the only thing I didn't like about him, and I do wanna go back and rewatch the first season of the animated show to see if
Mhm.
I'm remembering
See if
it
it's
kinda
one for
wrong.
one.
I don't remember him being this whiny.
I remember him being this whiny.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Constantly.
Zuko season 2 comes along, and
Mm.
season 3, and his character
There's
arc is
so
one
much
of my
fucking character
favorites.
development. Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for that to happen.
Uh-huh.
So I'm have a little bit of worries with him, but I'm waiting for season 2 of the show to come out
Yeah.
before I really give a full in-depth opinion on that
Which
character.
is fair.
Um,
I think Zuko is one of the ones that feels very similar to his cartoon counterpart, and a character that I liked.
yeah,
But then when you get to other characters, like I gotta hit the elephant in the room. Okay,
eyebrows.
Aang. I'm not a huge fan of that casting.
No,
Not at all. I understand, right? In a cartoon, especially one that you're watching when you're younger, everybody kind of seems like an adult because you're like, oh, I'm a kid, whatever.
Mhm.
In the show, to me, they all feel much more grown up than I guess maybe they were initially intended.
yes,
Katara and Zuko and Sokka can all, I think they can get away with, like, in a year or two when they go to film the next season,
they're
be
gonna be
like
like
teenagers or
really,
like young adults, adolescents,
Yeah.
whatever. Aang feels like he's 12. I feel like even if he grows up a little bit,
Which is
he's
canon.
still. Thank you. He feels too kid-like compared to what I remember and what I liked.
I'm gonna go the other way.
Really?
He's not kid-like enough.
Really?
He has such an innocence and a lightheartedness, and in this he's just like, the weight of my people are dying, and I
can't
have to
believe
be
that this
the
is-
Avatar.
The Avatar is
And
the
I
hardest
just want to
thing.
have all the, and I'm like, he does that in the show,
Yeah.
but also he's riding around on a giant air ball and making dumb faces playing
Yes.
with the lemur, and that doesn't happen in
Yeah,
this.
he doesn't fly in the
And
show
it's
either.
like those. He doesn't, which is something that I saw someone point out in a review where they're just like, at the beginning he's doing all this flying and
Yeah.
whatever. And I'm like, he is an airbender, and I always thought that they like
That
should
could
be
make a lot of sense.
It could make sense, but then they make him rely on the glider later on in the show, so they
Yes.
completely retcon
Doesn't
that
make
after
any
the first
fucking
5
sense.
minutes, so they could
They're
do
like, oh yeah, he could fly a fuck ton and do all these
Yeah.
things, but then he just never does it again.
So, like,
when
that-
it could totally make sense.
that I had a problem with, but I want to get back to the casting because there's some casting in this
Oh my god!
that I love.
Right, ready? I got a pro and con for you.
Okay,
Iroh. I like.
so good.
I
So
don't
good.
get the jokiness of cartoon Iroh and the live action Iroh.
Yeah.
Like the casting I like, and I like the character that he is, and I guess it's my expectation. Right, my big problem with this is it feels like the actors are acting to try and be a cartoon character rather than being a character of their own.
Yes,
Iroh is one of the few that feels like a character of his own rather than the cartoon counterpart.
because he was one of the most grounded characters in the
Yes.
show.
Exactly.
And I you're not gonna get the 1-to-1. Obviously, if the guy was alive, like, they
Mhm.
totally would've went with the same guy because he was that good at it.
Mhm.
But,
Oh, he died?
yeah.
Who's
I
he?
forget I forget what he did, but, he died, so they couldn't use him in
Mhm.
it. I also don't think he was in Korra, but I could be wrong on that
I
'cause
have no idea.
um,
You would know.
yeah, he died at some point, but I don't remember what was going on with it. But,
Mhm.
the actor really felt like him to me, and I
Yeah.
love that. The second best one, I would have to say for me, is Sokka.
Really?
I loved him, and there's only one problem with that character that's
Mhm.
not even his fault. He has a very expressive in the cartoon and
Mhm.
very over the top and
Oh, yeah,
whatever.
'cause he does, like, the
Yeah, he does all that, his
yeah.
eyes get really big, and it's whatever,
And
and
this
that's part
actor
of this
cannot do that.
no, because he's a human being.
Yes. He can't make his eyes fucking bleed
So,
out of
like,
his head.
he's missing that, but I am getting that brilliant idiot that
Yes,
he
I'm
is.
getting the sense of who he is and what he's supposed to be doing,
They're making him a little bit less stupid, which I don't
and a
appreciate,
little
but
less sexist, which is very good.
I don't remember that. But also, him and Suki, their relationship was so good. I loved it. The girl who was dressed like Kyoshi, she was a Kyoshi warrior.
Oh,
The girl
yes,
he
I
made
thought that
out
was
with.
really good,
The
yes.
sexual tension between them,
Oh
you
my
felt
Those
immediately.
2 12-year-olds, Brendan?
I don't give a fuck, that's what the characters are. That the moment they lay eyes on each other, they're like, "Damn."
I like this a lot. Uh,
So, I love that whole dynamic.
yeah. Other good casting there's 2 more really good castings that I could feel.
Mhm.
Firelord Ozai is such an
He's so
angry,
good.
perfect, like how do I say this without it sounding weird? He's like Firelord Daddy? Like
No, it sounds weird.
It does, but it's 'cause homie's, like, constantly shirtless, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill every motherfucking waterbender."
He puts the fear in you like the
Yes,
cartoon
exactly. He's
character
a
did.
super racist.
Yep. Which is really important to the show.
Yes.
So, I just wanna touch on that really quick because
Mhm.
watching the cartoon,
Mark Hamill was badass.
yes, I completely forgot that was him until I saw the nude guy doing it, talking
Mhm.
about Mark Hamill, being like, "I had no idea that was him, that's insane." Um, and, the races in the show feel very important because it's their
Mhm.
nationalities, it's whatever,
Yeah.
it's very distinct, like,
Yes.
reality, but I could never really distinguish certain ones, like, so the
Mhm.
Water Tribes to me always felt like Native Americans,
Yeah.
and, the Air Temple people are obviously, like, Buddhist and
Mhm.
monks and whatever, but, like, the Earth Nation always seemed like this hodgepodge of different races, so
Yeah.
I couldn't really figure out what it was,
Yes.
and minus, like, Iroh, like, most of the Fire Nation just seemed like angry white people to
Yes,
me.
I was about to say the
Uh,
same thing, but I didn't know if we could touch on it. It's just it just feels like it's a group of angry white people going, "I want everything."
and also Ozai was clearly not a white guy.
Yeah, 100%.
So, like, him being cast as that is perfect,
Dude,
but everybody else so, like, seeing
yes.
his sister, Zula,
Azula is the
sh
last casting I was gonna say. I
she
fucking love it.
I hate her.
What? I think her casting is great because she's
She's
a
not
little
crazy
crazy.
enough.
She's a little, right? The whole time I'm watching this, I understand that some of the dialogue is cringy. Some of the set pieces are not great. Some of the CG is a little iffy, especially
Yes.
with some of the animals. But I'm watching it knowing that people are going to watch it, the Netflix version, because it's better than the other live action.
Yeah.
So there's staying power. So this season will be good.
Yes.
The next season will be much better
Mhm.
because they'll be able to improve on anything, including the actors and how they want to embody
Yes.
the characters. And then theoretically, the third season will be better and they'll stick the landing.
So I just wanna touch on 2
Like
'cause
7
we
years
kinda,
from
like,
now.
went through some stuff, but I still wanna
Yes,
talk
yes,
about
yes.
something, so just really I'm gonna talk more about her, but back to the race thing.
The lightning.
What? That is what I wanted to talk about. But they came in, and a lot of the people in the, Earth Empire were, like,
Mm.
Middle Eastern or, like, Indian kinda,
Yes.
like, feeling, and I didn't see that as a
In the
child
show,
watching the
no.
cartoon, but it works really
It works
well.
perfectly.
It works
It
really
creates
well.
this perfect, like, differentiation between each one of the tribe or each one
Yeah.
of the nations
Mhm.
that feels more genuine to what the show felt like. Because more
Yes.
often than not, our young brains are like, "No, these are just all a bunch of people that all kinda look the same."
Yeah.
It's a cartoon, that's what it is. That's
So
my fucking, like,
yeah.
12-year-old brain is like, "Yeah, man, that's all the same race." I don't know.
So like I got into a whole argument with Isaiah over this, like,
Of
the
course.
day before because I was, like, trying to describe it and everything, but it was
Mhm.
after we came back from the barn, so he really didn't wanna hear me out.
Of course, of
Um,
course.
but, back
Far
to
too
this.
many espresso martini.
Yeah.
It's a good time.
I have so many thoughts just, like, rolling right now that I cannot
Bang, bang, bang,
focus
bang, bang.
on one. So I'm gonna hope the other one comes back to me,
Mm.
but I'm gonna go back to Azula now.
Okay.
The main reason why she isn't crazy enough to
Mm.
me is not her acting, it's not whatever, it's she doesn't have that wild fucking look in her eye that Azula always has,
Yeah.
to where, like, she's acting crazy and it's good,
Mhm.
but she doesn't look at anyone and I'm like, that bitch might fuck you up. Like, I don't like.
Yeah. Well, I mean, right in the last couple scenes that she was in, I kind of got more of that vibe where I definitely thought like
Yeah,
she's being crazy. She'll totally like light up the fucking Fire Lord right now,
yeah,
and she'll die in the process, and then whatever.
yeah,
But she's giving me the vibes of she's gonna light him the fuck up.
yeah.
I
So
like that a lot.
so I do. She's getting there.
Mhm.
So it's kind of like
Well, that's what
Zuko.
I'm saying.
It's
Over time, it's
yeah.
gonna get much
So
better.
I don't really want to throw this out immediately because like
Mhm.
it is like the first season is really
Yeah.
good, but a lot of what I remember from the show is from seasons 2 and 3.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Can't wait
another
for season 3.
casting that I absolutely loved is when they were right outside the city or the Earth Kingdom that I forget
Mhm.
the name of.
Ba Sing Se? No,
No, that
Omashu.
yes, Umashu. Ba Sing Se is next. Um, yeah,
Just a
everyone
great
likes Ba
name.
Sing Se. It's a good name. um, but they're outside the city
Mhm.
and he's
Secret tunnel.
that was so good.
It was.
It was so. I was so happy.
I was
But
like, I don't remember what part in the show that this comes up in, but I feel like it's right now because
yeah,
they're in a tunnel.
I was waiting for him to do it again because in the show he forgets the words and goes something something secret tunnel,
Yeah.
and I wanted him to do that, but he didn't. But
No.
they made it sound like a good song, and I appreciated
They
that.
did.
But when they're outside the city and they're like come up on this cart and this dude's sitting there, I'm like, this guy looks like such a dickhead. I'm not 100% positive, but this has to be Jet, and it was.
It was Jet, yes.
So the fact
And he looked 1-to-1 to the fucking cartoon, man.
the
He looked
moment
perfect.
I looked at him, the fact that I could be like, that's got to be Jet.
Yeah.
That's a good casting. And I'm
Mhm.
like, but where's the thing in his mouth, the little wheat piece? And then afterwards, when he's in his like armor and shit, he comes
Mhm.
out. I'm like, there it is. There's the wheat piece.
That's the fucking payoff I was
needs
waiting
that.
for.
And what was really funny is, as much as I like that character and whatever,
Mm.
that episode with him talking to Korra and Katara,
Katara.
I found really boring.
Yeah,
But I also found that part boring in the animated version.
that's fair.
So they did it correct, but
Yeah.
like, I didn't really care for it.
The other fan servicey thing that I thought was good, but I also like, it definitely felt like they were like, we need to check this box. We need to try to do it as close to the
Yeah.
cartoon as possible.
Boomy.
No, Boomy I kind of liked. Boomy was like cringy, but he was cringy in the show.
Do you know who it was? Because I had to Google it.
No.
He was the beatboxing dude from Pitch Perfect, from the guy group. That's the only thing I know him from. I don't know if he's in anything else.
I have no idea. No, I was talking about the Cabbage Man.
That is him.
What?
That's the Cabbage guy.
Oh.
Like the voice actor, they got him.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm just an asshole. Okay, so
they did blue ball us a little bit with it though, because he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh no, my!" And then they cut away. I'm like, "You motherfuckers!" But then they gave him his moment where he's like, "My cabbages!"
he's just yelling at the
And
sky.
I'm like, "Okay, I'll wait for that."
Yeah. So there's a couple other things. The CG is kind of the next thing I want to touch on. The CG,
So
right?
good, but so bad.
Once you really get in, I'll say probably near the halfway point. This is why when you said that there was like 15 million per episode,
Yeah.
I didn't believe you because it definitely feels like the first 4 episodes are maybe like 8-9 mil,
Mhm.
and then they saved a bunch of the budget for the ending. Not
Yeah.
even just because of, like the big monster, but just the bending.
Yeah.
The bending in the first probably 3 or 4 episodes to me was not it. I was like, there's no way that this is going to be the whole show.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's by episode 5 I just like gave into it more of like the cartooniness,
Yeah.
or if things were just actually a bit more polished later on. But the CG in terms of the bending was 50-50 for the season.
So when I first started the show, I was watching it on my phone and I was streaming it. So and I was also
you
not
didn't come all the way through.
not at home,
Yeah.
so it didn't come through, and it was also like buffering sometimes, so it was getting a little pixelated,
Mm.
and like black splotches were showing up in certain scenes. So I was just like, did they really just fuck up this budget that bad that it looks like shit?
No.
And then I came home and watched it on my big TV, and I'm like, oh no,
It looks pretty good.
Yeah, that was my
Yeah.
phone. So I don't really know what you're talking about as far as
Mhm.
that goes, but I got such a weird feeling while watching this,
Mhm.
where like sometimes it felt like they did things more practical than I thought they would,
Yeah.
and then other times where I'm like, can you take the people out of the volume?
The only time I got the sense of a green screen or a volume is when they were writing Appa. And I'm like, oh, look at that. It's clear that there's a lot of motion blur behind you guys, and the camera's quickly jumping back and forth, so
Oh no,
you're avoiding something.
the people cut out and everything was so obvious to me the whole show.
Yeah.
Not because it was poorly done, like rotoscoping or anything
Mhm.
like that. It's because they made the universe so vibrant and clean,
Mhm.
and then
Any little thing sticks out.
well, it's that. I also saw someone mention this. Even their clothes are a little bit too clean to where it
Yeah.
looks kind of like a cosplay or like just
Yeah,
something
it
fake.
feels much more like a cosplay.
But then when you get the close-ups where it's like their shoulders and up, you see more of their face, where their skin and
where they can
texture
emote
and
and
whatever.
whatever.
So then
Yeah.
you see the background still being that smooth, like
Mhm.
painting. It doesn't come
Mhm,
across
mhm.
as well.
Yeah.
So every time I saw that, I'm like, that doesn't look that good.
Mhm.
And then I want to touch on my least favorite. I don't want to say it's the casting because it's a creative choice, not the actress herself.
Yeah.
The I forget her name right now, but the girl who had the spirit of the moon in her, that Sako also fell in love with.
Sui?
No,
Yue?
that sounds
Yue?
maybe.
White-haired girl.
Yes. In the show, she has these gigantic blue eyes,
Mhm.
and I pointed that out to Isaiah as well, and he's like, "I'm pretty sure all the Water Tribe people have blue eyes," and I'm like, "They
Huh.
might." Like,
They might. I have no idea.
I don't
Quite
remember that,
possibly.
but like hers always were like brighter and really stood out
Oh,
to
yeah,
me.
she was supposed to stand out because she's this princess figure.
And also like has a moon spirit inside of her, so
Yeah.
I really wanted to see that. She had the darkest eyes,
She
and
did.
I'm like,
She had the darkest eyes and, like, the darkest
mole
It's
next
funny
to her
because-
eyeball that was
because
very distracting.
They tried to make sure that all of the outfits were one-to-one with the cartoon to a point where it felt like a cosplay.
Yeah.
They tried to do that with her hair.
And
The
it was
problem
such
then
a
is
bad wig.
The hair is gigantic and it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
But then because the hair is anime-esque and the face is not, she looked fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
Because her face and her head are like a normal person and she doesn't have these huge, like, emotive eyes.
Yeah.
But then she's like walking around, she's like, oh my, and her hair is just fucking, she looked like she was
Yeah.
in the 1700s or something with a big ass wig.
Yeah, it was really weird.
It was bad. And we want to talk about my least favorite thing in terms of the CG. Part of the show gave me like Transformers vibes, but only, hold on, let me explain, but only Transformers like 3 and onward.
Okay.
Were right. You remember, because Timmy and I were watching the first one last night. She had a hankering. She wanted to watch it. In the first 2 Transformers movies, every little thing you see move. Like when they transform, you're like, and every fucking gear is moving. And then once you get like to 3 and on, they look smoother. And every time they transform, it's off screen. Optimus will be running, and then it cuts to like Sam Witwicky, and then it cuts back to Optimus.
Where you
and
like
he's
see
a
him
truck.
start to transform for like a half a
Not
second.
even. He's just in the middle of a fight, and then it cuts back, and he's a truck. I got that vibe with Appa and Momo so bad.
Appa and Momo got so disrespected.
Exactly.
in the
Not
show.
even because they look bad, right? Because to me, the CG, they made the fur, and I guess they were dirty, whatever, dark enough to, I didn't see a lot of the detail, and they showed up a lot, not in direct sunlight. But I can count on one hand the number of times they showed up.
Can we just talk about how I don't remember this happening in the animated thing, but because
What?
it was a cartoon, it
Oh, when
probably
Momo fucking died?
Yeah,
I
he
didn't
just fucking died. And they're like, he's still breathing. I'm like,
I was
that
like,
is
they
a
really crushed that
10-pound
fucking
lemur
monkey.
that got crushed by a 40-pound
And then
stone.
he picks him up and he's in one piece.
And you're like, he's breathing. I'm like, that dude is dead.
Or what
He's
about when Katara
fucking
had a
dead.
building fall on her? And Zuko gets up unfazed and he's like, I'm fine. But then Katara gets up out of the rubble. I'm like, no, there's no way.
Because of the big CG battle with the giant monster and like the water and the boats all like exploding and everything being a pure CG thing.
When it cut back, it was
seeing
weird.
them being on like this ground with foam, like rubble next to them and like
Yeah.
falling and being like, oh no. And I'm like, I just saw you guys run from the back of the set to the front of the set. And like,
I can see the seam of the volume right there.
It took me off a little bit. So like, the fact that they did have that budget, it's weird choices like that where I think you're right. They did throw a little bit too much into the CG to where they did other things. And then,
like there was definitely too many times where it cut back to like, it would show the big monster in the end.
Yeah.
But then it would also cut to Aang and he's just like,
he looked really weird in the
he
Avatar
looked
state.
really weird.
But like,
it's
also
just,
cool.
it's wasted budget where you
Yeah.
have to, no, what even, it's not even animate, but the fact you have to texture and do all of the CG things for him to stand there for an extra 3 fucking seconds.
Yeah.
You could have used that to use better looking foam blocks or something.
It's
That's my other big fucking gripe with this show, man.
It's
The Avatar state. How many times do you go into it? Like twice?
3 or 4 times.
In the show, in the cartoon, it's like every other episode. He's like, my toe hurts.
No. Later on, he goes into it more, but like early
Maybe
on,
that's what I'm thinking.
But like
It's a
also,
rarity.
so there's some changes that once again, I feel like I would have remembered these, but
Mm.
I 100% don't. So I don't know if they just added this to the show. I also
Yeah.
never read the books, so like I have no idea if that was in the books.
Is it a book?
It's based off of books.
Oh,
That's why it's
is it
called
a book or a
1 and
manga?
2. No, book. It's American. It's not. It's made to look like an anime.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing you didn't like.
So it's not that I didn't like it. It's that I didn't recognize it, and I don't know if that was new or I just don't remember it. Is 2 things. I'm pretty sure this one didn't happen, which is when you actually see the Fire Nation attack the Air Temple.
Yeah, I don't know if any of that first chunk of that first episode is actually
I
in the
don't
show.
think it did because I'm pretty sure I remember watching the show and being like, "Damn, I wish I could have seen them all get like murdered and like that would have been cool." And they
Yeah.
did it, so I'm like, "Okay, that's cool. That's added."
Yeah,
And-
it's added stuff from the show that isn't in the show, but it feels earned and it
Yeah.
feels valuable to the story.
and Kyoshi.
Showing up like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I don't
Did
think that happened at all.
Okay, so I'm not
Because-
crazy.
To my knowledge, right? Because
Yeah.
you've seen this show 5 or 6 times or
Yeah.
whatever. I've never watched through it deliberately to get through the whole thing. I don't remember shrines being so important, or the fact that he could only contact them through the shrine when he was near it, and then them being like, yeah, if you go into the
Yeah.
Avatar state while you're here after we've spoken, I'll just like take over your body for a little bit.
Yeah, I don't think that second part usually happens, but I do remember him being like, "I gotta go get to the shrine so I can go talk to these people."
I remember him doing it to talk to the whatever the Fire Nation avatar's
Roku.
name, Roku.
Yeah.
I remember him doing that for Roku.
The Roku
But I
TV
also
stick.
like I I also firmly remember him constantly talking to Roku, like, randomly being everywhere.
He goes back to him quite a bit because the main villain is the fire, like,
Oh, yeah.
lord,
Well,
so
no,
he,
that
like,
makes
goes to
sense.
him a lot.
But, I mean, there's no way that he's gonna be like, "I need to go back to the Fire Nation every other day so that way I can go over to this statue to talk to Roku."
I think
Like, it's gotta be a retcon come season 2.
as he goes on and everything and he becomes more unified with his avatar state
Mhm.
and them within it, I don't think he has to go to those as much.
Mhm.
But definitely in the first season and, like, definitely a good part of season 2,
Mhm.
I remember he definitely uses that a lot. The other thing I did not remember
Mhm.
was the owl from the library showing up in
Fucking
season 1.
scary.
He looked cool.
He did.
Didn't
Co?
like him in the animated series because he was creepy, but live action, a
Horrible.
face-stealing
Oh,
bug?
yeah.
Horrifying. Really creepy.
You know what was really nice is during that episode, I was watching it during the day when we were at home,
Yeah.
and right where my house is set up, it's the TVs here on top of the fireplace, and then there's just a big window to my deck.
Yeah.
So every time that he would come on screen, he's right in the middle, and that's right where the glare is. So I didn't have to deal with the bug stealing face.
Okay, it was on point, and I like how
It
they
seemed like it was a
actually
lot.
went into, like, this, like, horror aspect a little bit,
Yeah.
especially in their nightmares that they were
Mhm.
having. That was really cool. So I like that they did that.
The owl looks fucking cool. That's where all the budget went.
The
That
owl
big
was
ass owl.
so good.
Yeah.
And
What I didn't like, right, just talking about the owl, because that's when they go into the spirit world and all these things.
Yeah.
One of the things I loved about the show is that it looked ridiculous how blue they fucking were. But it was
Yeah.
a very easy way for my child brain to be like, all right, they're in the spirit world right now. This is differentiated.
Yeah.
In the show, they're like, oh, I'm blue. Hey guys, we're all in the spirit world together. Oh, our colors are back. What the hell is this? This is crazy.
It looked okay on Aang, but then, like, with Katara and
Sokka.
so many names to remember. It's just, they looked a little weird to me like that
Yeah.
because I don't really remember them really being in those
Mhm.
states too often.
I don't remember them ever being in it.
Okay, I didn't
Pretty
want
sure
to
it was just like an
confirm it.
Avatar thing.
I like how, like, I said, I'm like, I've watched this 6 times, and I'm like, I really don't remember.
Well, I remember watching Avatar, the cartoon, a fuck ton when I was
Yeah.
younger, but it was never like, oh, I'm gonna sit down for the new episode. It was like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and watch Nickelodeon, and it was just happened to be on.
A lot of why I'm struggling to remember a lot of this is because whenever I watch Avatar, I go Avatar straight into Korra. And Korra has 4 seasons rather than just the 3 that
Really?
Avatar has.
Yeah, but Korra has bloodbending, and that's fucking cool.
Katara has bloodbending. Korra's that airbender. I mean,
Korra's, because they're both waterbenders.
she's the Avatar. Katara can bloodbend.
She can bloodbend too? No,
She's-
because I can firmly, I never watched Korra except for like one episode.
Yeah.
I firmly remember a dude in a mask like bending Korra's blood.
Yes, that was a much easier thing.
Horrifying.
That they do, but Katara's, I couldn't remember if it was season 1 or 2,
Mhm.
where she learns bloodbending from this creepy old fucking lady who, like, puppets her, and it's like it's really unsettling. So I'm really looking forward to that, and I don't
Yeah.
know if that was cut, if they're just gonna remove that entirely.
I have no idea.
I don't remember what season it's in.
I don't know.
But Katara was better at waterbending at that point, so it may be season 2.
Yeah, she became a master far too quickly. I didn't like that at all.
I wouldn't say she's a master yet, but it's just like, yeah, it's like I said earlier, you don't see her training, so it feels
Yeah.
unearned. Same with Aang, just kind of like,
That's the thing I didn't touch on. I'm sitting here thinking, wait, there was one more thing that I need to talk about
Yeah.
and bring up, but I don't remember. He doesn't fucking learn to waterbend at all.
no.
The entire purpose of
And I'm
each
pretty
one,
sure that's not accurate.
no,
Like, he definitely
the
learns.
entire purpose, right? Because in this they're going seasons, they're not calling it the books like they should. It's book 1 is water, book 2 is earth, book 3 is fire, and in each one he's
Yeah.
supposed to learn how to bend those other ones. The only mention of Aang learning to waterbend is like a throwaway line of Katara saying something to him when they're by a tree or by like the lake,
Mhm.
and then they don't do anything.
Yeah.
And then right in the finale, like the last 3 minutes, where she goes, "Well, yeah, well now Aang needs to waterbend. He needs to learn that, and then we're gonna go off to Ba Sing Se."
Yeah.
Like throwaway. That's the entire fucking point of the show.
Yeah.
And you skipped over it entirely because you wanted to see the big CG Godzilla.
So I think that may also be a thing, because I'm trying to remember it and everything, and I thought Aang was taught by the same guy who was teaching her, but at the same time,
Yeah.
I mainly just remember their interaction together. Like,
Yes,
her
I
and him.
don't really
So-
remember in book 1
Yeah.
a ton of dedicated time to him learning how to waterbend.
Yeah, so
It
it
was
made
more like he passively learned through Katara as she was learning.
Exactly. So that, I think, is also kind of why they rushed it. So it made
Mhm.
some bit more sense in season 2 that just like, oh, he's learning from her and
Yeah.
she's doing whatever, and then he obviously is going to learn from Toph, and then
Fuck yeah.
Zuko
Hopefully
is
that
going to
casting is
teach
good,
him.
and then Zuko will teach him fire.
They're
and
going to
then-
get a real blind. They should get Matt Murdock just in a wig.
Hey guys, it's me, Toph.
Toph.
I want to
Did
see
you
more.
hold on?
What?
Have you watched Korra?
No,
Okay, so
isn't Toph in Korra?
she is. She's no. They're all in it, but Aang, because he
'Cause he's dead.
flashback. Yeah, but and
the
then
entire reason
Zuko
why
is
Korra
an old
exists.
Fire Lord with a beard. He's great.
Oh,
But what do you call it? They go to a playhouse and they're doing a play from the original thing, and they have Toph being played by a giant jack dude. So I feel like it'd be really good to have that actually happen.
It just does backflips and shit. And he has the fucking whatever the Daredevil thing is, the nunchuck, I think. Struggling?
Yeah, every time I cough, it makes my back feel like it explodes.
Yeah, that's a good cough. Do you feel it right in your left arm too?
No, I just feel it right at the bottom of my spine because I'm jerking forward and the back goes, don't move, don't move.
So my hopes for season 2,
yes,
right, are I want more Firelord Ozai. I understand that they can't show a fuck ton of him because it keeps some of the mysticism and some of the scariness about him. But I want to see more of him, and I want more fucking Azula because
she's gonna get there. She's not really in it because Zuko's the focus
main,
in the first one.
Does she have blue fire? Isn't that a thing in the?
A little bit of blue fire and also the lightning, which we
in the cartoon
wanted to touch on.
Doesn't she have? Well, that's what I'm getting to. Doesn't she have blue fire in the cartoon?
I think that's at the end when she gets really pissed off.
Like I firmly remember her and Zuko fighting and her having blue fire.
That's like the last 3 episodes.
Yes,
so we're not there yet.
And then the lightning.
She did the fucking fingers.
She did the whole thing?
She did the fingers.
The lightning, though, feels kind of unearned. I feel like...
I don't remember that, but I do also remember seeing her be the first person to use lightning.
Yeah.
So I don't remember her being like, oh, I'm training to use lightning. Like, she just had it, so I'm not too
It's just something that happened?
Yeah.
So when she was sparring with that guy in, like, the 5th episode, I think, there's a second where there's something blue that shows up and she, like, punches him or something. Is that blue fire or was that lightning? I don't remember.
Probably was blue... I don't remember that either. So it probably was blue fire because she was getting pissed off. So it was just like a little bit of that hate coming through.
Well, yeah, but I feel like if it was lightning, it would make more sense. But I'd be like, oh yeah, because she felt it the first time, and then she was able to just fuck around with it later on.
Well, blue fire's hotter.
Yeah.
So like, it is like she's getting heated.
Oh, I know.
So,
but explain the lightning.
What do you mean?
Why can't she use the light?
Why can tough metal bend? It's the same shit.
What? Metal is a rock from the earth. That makes more sense than fucking...
It's energy. The way I view it is it's energy.
Energy? Okay.
So I was breaking this down to Isaiah the other day, yesterday, because I was just like laying in bed late at night, kind of like just a little drunk after the bar.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what if it's not the elements but the states of matter? Which means that earthbenders should be able to ice bend, and like waterbenders should be able to bend like mercury and shit. That would be really cool. But the way I was looking at it is you have the waterbenders, which are the liquid benders. You have the earthbenders, which are the solid benders. The airbenders are the gas benders.
Yes.
And then the firebenders are the energy/plasma benders.
That makes more sense.
Yes.
I like that. What are your hopes for season 2?
Better.
Do more, but do it better.
Better quality between switching back and forth between CG and live action things and maybe blending it a bit more, maybe doing like a little bit of an overlay of some CG stuff on the live action things.
Touch it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Ask Marvel. Marvel does it for fucking everything.
Exactly. Just a little bit more honing in of certain characters, just doing whatever.
And
then
Aang
just
to grow the fuck up a little bit.
Just a bit more just downtime. It feels like they were... Why are they so fucking hell-bent on making these shows shorter and shorter? TV shows used to be 20 episodes. Now it's on Netflix. It's got to be 13. Well, 13 something seems like they're getting a little stretched out, so we're going to go down to 10. Well, fuck 10. Let's go down to 8. And if you had those extra 2 episodes, that's 2 extra hours of character development we would have had. Why did you need to make it 8? We didn't have enough budget. 115 wasn't enough? Thing. It wasn't enough for you. No?
You couldn't stretch $150 million?
You couldn't make that 2 more episodes? And that's not this show. It's Netflix as a whole. It's streaming as a whole. And it's starting to really piss me off.
Yeah, it was really cool in like 2019 when they were like, "Oh, Disney's getting their own," and now they're like, "This one and this one and this one's combining and this one's doing this." But this is supposed to look like
if you're making
Loki's supposed to be like the fucking movies, but on Disney Plus. But then you go to watch fucking the Deadpool 3 trailer and they don't look the fucking same.
If you're making a TV show and it's less than 10 episodes, it's not a TV show. It's a limited series. Yes. Oh, it has more than 1 season. Why not just make the first season longer? Why am I waiting for multiple seasons? Oh, well, we weren't sure if we're going to get renewed and if we had the budget. That's bullshit. Yeah, but you had millions.
I'm kind of fine with it. I think 8 is a really nice sweet spot.
It's not.
But I could totally be down with them. But, like, it's also, if there was more downtime, right, and you stretch out the story and you include every little thing from the show, then there's more room for us to be like, no, this is fucking boring. What the fuck's going on here?
But you don't need... It's like I said with the actual animated thing. Give me, like, a 2-minute segment at the beginning and at the end of an episode, just showing them being friends, being kids.
Oh, yeah.
Just bending, doing whatever.
Not just constantly like, oh my god, this.
We're on the move. We're on the move.
Aang is captured for the 3rd time. Yeah. Fuck.
Also, can we just talk about the fucking stupidity of Aang just being like... Kyoshi gave me this vision, man, that the North is gonna fall. Let me stop every 10 feet.
Oh, of course.
But, like, no, I have time. Aang, she didn't give you a date. How do you know it's not happening tomorrow? You were taking your sweet-ass time getting up there. Like...
In the North?
Yeah. There's a king.
Completely.
His name is Jon Snow.
The king in the North! Completely separate from what you were saying. It's
Yeah.
just you said the North and I thought of it.
Yeah.
This is... From, like, a budgetary standpoint, it's
Mhm.
really weird when Aang talks to the other avatars. And that really comes to a spearhead for me in the North when he talks to whatever his
He was
name
the
is.
worst one.
Not even because, like, the casting to me was fine, and it looks like whatever they gave him, he was working well with it. But it's just the way they go about it, because you have at least two people and they're on the rock, right? And the rock looks good and textured, but everything between them looks like shit. And everything around them just looks like a fucking JPEG.
Yeah.
And then he's talking to him and he's like, I need to be loud! Bang.
Yeah.
Winter PNG.
He is the worst avatar, too, so...
He is, yeah. I want to see more of the Kyoshi Warriors. I think that'd be a lot
You're
more
gonna.
fun.
They'll come back. Book 2.
Earth. Yeah, that's all them. What else do I hope for? I hope Zuko also grows up a little bit. Like, he seemed very kiddie and complainy.
And so I want to see him get older. I want to see that nice fucking, like, emo cut that he's gonna get in season 2.
Where they cut the whole thing off?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that was the real thing that made me super duper fucking mad.
What?
I'm gonna burn this entire half of your face off, but your eyebrow's fine. That's gonna grow perfectly normal,
Don't
and
worry
you're not
about it.
even gonna notice it.
Yeah, and then it's also the way that he... Right, in the real world, if you took a ball of fire and you
Yeah.
put it right on someone's face,
Yeah.
he lost that eyeball. The eyeball's the first thing to go.
Yeah, but that's part of
It
the, like...
pops like a bubble.
I didn't know why you know that. But,
His dad comes up to him, he's like, hold
I'm
on,
just gonna put this on your
put this
face.
on your eye first, please. Okay, there we go. That's good and burned.
Just gets into his room. They said he's gonna heal. He's not gonna be okay, though. Like,
No.
I'm like, that's a good line.
And then his dad's like, you know what? You're right, he's not going to be okay.
Get the fuck
He's
out.
banished. And you know those guys you don't like? Take them with you.
Yes. Which, that was also one of the other things that I don't remember in the show. Him, like, I remember him, like, being like, nah, that plan's stupid, and, like, him, like, standing up for that, which is why his dad's like, no, we're gonna fight now.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that specific troop being mentioned.
Neither do
and
I.
then them being the crew. Also, that guy, who's, like, his, like, top lieutenant on there.
General Zhao?
No, I think his name is, like, Lieutenant Lee or some shit like that. Lieutenant Z. But, I was so confused on who that character was, because I was so, like, it was weird. Same with Zhao, because they were very distinctly different people
Yes.
in the animated series, and it's even worse with his lieutenant, because that dude in the animated series is an older guy with gray hair and a goatee, and in this, he's a young buff dude who's just like,
General
oh, man.
G. Lieutenant G.
Yeah, okay.
I think it's funny we didn't touch on Zhao. Zhao? Because, I didn't like him at all. I didn't find him fun or compelling or exciting or scary or anything. I just found him fucking obnoxious.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure is the point, cartoon villain, whatever.
No, he was a bit... The reason why he was intimidating is they made him in this
when he
seem
stabbed
like...
the fish.
They made him in this be like, oh, like, they made emphasize about the fact that, like, he's just a low-level guy, he doesn't really know shit or do whatever, but
He
to
fucking
me,
dies.
in the theme of the show, it was a bit of a yin-yang between him and Zuko, where Zuko was this balls-to-the-wall, just pure emotion guy or whatever, and
Zhao?
Zhao, thank you, seemed a bit more older and methodical and a bit more, like, scary and intense.
But he also didn't seem methodical at all.
And in this, he was just like, I'm just older, therefore I'm better.
I know I don't have battle
I'm
experience.
also going
We're
to
doing
pick this weird cadence the whole time.
Big balloon. Get in the balloon.
Also, just a shout out, because I just finished watching Community. Abed from Community was the engineer,
yes,
and I loved it. I was
funny.
so happy to see him.
I enjoyed that a lot.
He was great.
His son is the son in the show is also in stuff. I recognize him, and I don't
He's
know
in
from where.
Things. The actor child is in Actor Things. Sorry, I didn't recognize him at all.
I recognize him, but I don't remember what he's from. Or maybe it's like a son of somebody famous. I don't fucking know. The last thing, just because, like, right, Ty Lee, is that her name? Azula's friends.
I love them.
Maybe it's just the rose-colored glasses, right? Because I also haven't watched the show in a long time. Is Ty Lee the cute one? I don't remember their names.
I don't remember their names off the top of my head, but the smaller one who's really peppy and, like, the most, like, anime girl in the show.
Exactly. I didn't get that vibe at all.
No, but I also think that she doesn't really... Yeah, I don't understand what you're saying, but, like, I feel like we need more time with her. The
Agreed.
other girl nailed the just...
100%.
I'm just dead
it's just
inside.
I can't believe you would... The eyes.
Yeah, just... I don't know.
What have you done to me?
So, I like that. There's a lot of good, there's a lot of hope that's coming from this,
Yes.
but I do also wanna throw out there, as a fan of the show, I love that I'm getting this,
Something.
even though it's not new
Mhm.
content, it's just a new way to view what I'm enjoying.
Yeah, and they sprinkle some new stuff in there.
But at the same time, it really isn't needed.
Yeah.
So
It's just their way
Yeah.
of bringing in, like, a successful IP to a new generation
Yeah.
and a new medium.
they're not butchering it, and I
No.
had fun watching it, which in this current state of media, I'm fine with.
Yeah, the
I'm
amount of
just like-
shit that comes out,
yeah.
like the Outlaws that we might talk about in the end.
You know what's crazy?
What?
This is the first time since November we are positive about something, and it
I was
feels
thinking
good.
the same fucking
It feels
thing.
so good.
Right, if we look at let's look at our back catalog of the stuff that we watched previously. Last week was Madam Web.
Yeah.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Before that, we did the MCU tier list.
Hated it. No.
Half and half. Mean Girls. Before that.
You hated.
I
I was
hated
just kind of like, it's okay.
Then before that it was Rebel Moon and Aquaman. Hated.
So
Star
bad.
Wars: The Holiday Special.
Bad.
And Wonka.
Bad.
Godzilla -1.
Good.
Good. Very good. And then we just talked about Godzilla nonstop. I can't wait for that to come back up.
Yeah.
Maybe we
I'm
should.
so excited for that movie.
That movie looks so
It looks
fucking good.
balls to the
I
wall,
want
ridiculous.
the Funko Pop of Godzilla laying down like a dog.
I want to have just grunt and roar of the scene from Predator, where it's Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Dylan,
yeah,
you son of a bitch.
And I want to see
Godzilla King Kong.
just yeah, man.
Godzilla with his no thumbs. He's just
No, he's got to have the robot hand on it, and then Godzilla, and just like you see them, it's just really
Can't
weird
fucking
doing
wait.
it with yourself. Yeah.
okay.
And, but like I want to just hear grunts, and like if you don't know it, you don't know it. But it does the same thing where they do it and they linger on it for a second.
They
and
look
you're
at each other and he goes,
"You son of a bitch."
"Hey Godzilla, perfect English, you son of a bitch."
See, that's what I want from this. I know
Super
it's not going
Saiyan
to get
Rose
that, but like
fucking Godzilla.
watching this trailer, seeing where these movies have been,
Yeah.
this is the first time in a while where I'm looking at a sequel
Mhm.
where I really don't give a fuck what came before.
Yeah.
I just want crazy nonsense, and
Yes.
it looks like I'm going to get that. And I'm
Godzilla's
so down
full
for
on
it.
sprinting.
Yes, the same speed as a monkey wearing a robot gauntlet
Yes.
that humanity made. That he willingly went, thanks, guys.
And the two of them too, their form is great. They're not just like
Oh, they're
they're
not-
both like
Yeah, they're not running like
Fucking
monsters. They're
sprinting it.
running like sprinters. Which,
there's a person in there.
like, that's what I'm so down for. Like, it almost feels more like an anime or something
Yes.
like that, where it's just like, fuck
Pink
reality,
Godzilla.
fuck
Fucking
groundedness.
stellar.
Give me two giant monsters being ridiculous, and I'm so excited for it.
Okay, so let's do a complete 180.
Okay.
The second thing that we're reviewing this week, because we went to see, right? You and I completely forgot Avatar was coming out
Yes.
until the day of. And then we were
Yes.
like, fuck, we need to binge this.
Did
So
it in a
prior to
day.
that, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I finished yesterday. We went to the movies to go see whatever the fuck was out because as a content channel entirely based on movies, January, February, and a bit of March
A little slow.
sucks.
Yeah.
So we saw Drive Away Dolls.
Yes.
Comedy, road trip, drama type of thing. Can you tell me what the budget was?
30.
Yes.
Really?
Can you guess what the opening weekend is?
4?
2.5.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't help that AMC put us in the smallest theater they had,
Yeah.
and it was one of the more full theaters I've been to
Incredibly.
recently.
On like was it Friday? Thursday?
Thursday at like 7 p.m.
Yeah.
It was
Packed
just
tiny theater.
yeah, and I'm
And
like,
it was constantly just groups of dudes too. Or like a date.
after seeing the movie,
It makes sense.
it makes more sense. When I saw the trailer, I didn't expect that to happen.
Can you guess
Um,
Rotten Tomatoes?
Rotten Tomatoes score.
Regular tomato meter first, then the audience score.
The critics are gonna fucking hate this movie, so I'm gonna go with a 40.
And what's the audience score?
65.
Flip it.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
The tomato meter is a 65 fresh, and the audience is a rotten 35.
Damn.
That's crazy. But I also completely get it. So let's talk about the story a little bit,
Just
okay?
Right off the bat, we are on two opposite sides of the spectrum. for this
Entirely.
movie.
I fucking hated this
I
movie.
didn't think it was the greatest thing ever, but I had a great time.
I was fine with it.
Yeah.
Let's talk story a little bit. First, there's a bunch of crazy cameos.
Yes.
There's a briefcase.
Starts off with
Pedro Pascal.
exactly
Out of nowhere. Didn't
just
expect
the
that
weirdest
whatsoever.
thing, and his acting was so bad on purpose.
Yes.
Which I think for you sat there and immediately went, "Oh no, this is gonna be bad."
Yeah.
And I sat there going, "Oh, it's gonna be that kind of movie." And I was in the mode and I was set already.
Yeah,
So I
no, I
think
was
for the
not.
rest of it, you were just like, "What the fuck is going
What
on?"
is
I'm like, "This is
happening? Yeah.
exactly what I expected."
100%. Agreed. So there's a briefcase, right? And the briefcase, it's all about who gets the briefcase, and then they have to bring it down to Florida. Okay. So just to like skip through some of
Yeah.
what the story was, briefcase goes into a car. the main characters whose names I don't remember, the drive-away dolls,
Yes.
rent a car that they have to drive down to Florida. The car has the briefcase in it. They drive the car all the way down. Matt Damon is there and he wants the briefcase. Turns out that it's a briefcase full of dildos.
One of which is his penis.
One of which is his penis.
As well as a box containing Pedro Pascal's severed head.
Yes. Covered in ice.
Covered in ice.
And
Okay,
then-
so was it real? To me, it looked like, obviously, the shot
The
where the
head?
head's rolling and it's whatever. It's not real.
Oh,
But when he's
are
in
you
the
asking
box,
like if he's like in
Yeah.
there? No, there's no way it was real.
because it looked
didn't-
really good to me.
It did, but it
So-
also was underneath like smoke and steam
But
and
it was
covered in
also like
ice.
Pedro Pascal, and he
Yeah.
would definitely do that.
And it had the glasses on.
Yeah.
So when it's hiding the eyes, the uncanny valley is much.
So, like, I'm not sure if they did it or not, but I could totally picture him being like, "No, I'll stick my head in the
He's
box."
like, hold on, guys, ready?
It's just
Oh, don't forget my glasses.
so like that. I enjoyed that, and it was. To be fair, I didn't feel the craziest about the two main characters, mainly
Yeah.
because Margot Qualley's accent was really throwing me off
Bearable.
the whole fucking time.
Unfucking bearable.
But besides that, their chemistry was actually pretty good. As far as like the weird, quirky girl, and then the really
the chemistry between a lot of
um,
the characters is really good. Let's just also talk about the one big thing throughout this movie. There's a lot of boobs.
There's a lot.
It's about a lesbian, not couple, but turn
I
couple.
want to say it's a lesbian rom-com, but with emphasis on the com rather than the rom.
Yes.
I
Up until
hated
the
that
ending.
sentence that
And
I
then in
just
the ending,
said.
they're like, maybe we should have sex.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move up here so we can get married.
Which was just like a really weird thing
that
because
felt like a weird left turn to me.
the movie was not shy at all about diving into sex, their fantasies that they had about other women and doing
Yes.
whatever. But for like a movie that had so much sex in it,
Yeah.
having this like culmination where the two main characters finally do have sex, and it's
Yeah.
like the only time where it just like the least
Calm,
happens,
yeah.
just kind of felt weird.
It's also like the chemistry between them felt. There was a lot of chemistry between them,
Yeah.
but it wasn't sexual tension. It was more just like, oh, we're good friends and we bounce
Yes.
off each other well. So when they were like, oh, we're gonna have sex and then we're gonna get married, I didn't feel that at all. I was like, you guys are not a couple. You're fucking lying. This is a front for something. There's some other plot beat going on up here.
So Margot Qualley's character, something about her.
Yeah.
I've seen that woman in real life before. I don't know why. I don't know where. But
I've
that
met her
woman
before.
exists.
She's gone to my bar.
She is someone's mom who's secretly a lesbian. And because of that, I could 100% see that, but I also don't see that relationship working because her character is definitely going to cheat on the other girl.
100%. The other
so-
one's too innocent.
Yes. But at the same time, I can see them being that, and as of right now, that's where their story is. But this movie, especially with that culmination of like the sex scene between them
Yeah.
being kind of weird,
Yeah.
reminds me a lot of this other movie that I absolutely love, but also has that same weird vibe called Zack and Mary Make a Porno.
Isn't that Seth Rogen?
Seth Rogen's in it.
Yeah. What's her name?
Elizabeth Banks is in it. Jay from Jay and Silent Bob.
What's the movie?
Zack and Miri Make a Porno, not Mary. It's directed by Kevin Smith. And the entire time, it's this very openly sexual thing because it's about a porno. But then the two main characters finally bang. But the funny part is, in that movie, they acknowledge how fucking awkward it is. They're like, that was the worst sex I've ever seen in my life.
It is Elizabeth Banks.
Yes. So that's kind of where I was in this movie, where like you go in and you're just like, I'm not gonna take a damn thing in this serious.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride.
Yeah.
And it's whatever. And the difference between that movie and this movie is the Kevin Smith one, bit more well-rounded of a movie.
This is just
This one,
straight to it. Also,
has-
the runtime was fucking short as hell, so it kind of
which
makes
was
sense.
so nice.
120, hour 20.
And
So good.
so the real issue
Mm.
with this movie comes down to the
Say it.
fucking wild psychedelic
Yes.
trips that happen every 5 minutes
Yes.
and go on way too long.
It's so the movie gets you, right? Because first it starts with these transitions that feel like they're straight out of like either like an 80s movie or like default Final Cut Pro or
the
Premiere
70s
transition.
show, but if the guy doing
Yes.
it was on LSD.
Yes.
Like it felt more accurate to what you would
I know,
actually
but I'm
see
talking
on
about just the
drugs.
regular transitions from scene to
I
scene.
love those.
Those were good, but then like every
they were on
it would be
purpose, though,
one
which is why they
transition.
were funny.
Yes, one transition would be weird like that and stock. I'll call it, and then the next one would be like, look, it's an LSD trip, and Miley
Yeah.
Cyrus is there, and she's walking up to you, and then an hour later, there's another one. She's like, Miley Cyrus is back, and now we think she's jerking this
We're
guy
pretty
off
sure he's giving him a hand job, and
Yeah.
then it cuts to a dude we've never seen before or after in that
with
movie.
no explanation.
And
or
he's just
anything.
like,
and the
"Ugh."
aspect ratio goes from like a regular wide to like it's really cramped in, and then the more that she jerks him off, the more the the aspect ratio
What I
widens.
absolutely love is when I'm in theaters, I never notice aspect ratio, and you lock onto it.
I do, yes.
So I'm watching these
I'm so
scenes, and
fucking
I didn't
tired.
notice it at all, and you're just like, what the fuck was going on? I'm like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was too looking at the guy's chest who was getting jerked off with a video of a dog racing on his
It
chest.
was a video, too, because you
Which
saw
was-
the countdown.
Yeah, he was like, 3, 2, 1, dog. And I'm like, why is there a dog? And then it cut to the actual dog. I'm like,
This is confusing.
what is
happening?
What just happened? Why
All
was
right.
Miley Cyrus jerking that man off?
So then you get to the end, and Matt Damon's there, and I thought, right, because the first time that he's shown, they drive past a billboard,
Yeah.
and they're like, clearly like some kind of Republican message. Matt Damon is the senator or whatever,
Yeah.
and you're like, oh my god, it's Matt Damon. That's crazy. He gave them the ability to use his likeness, and then they move on, and Matt Damon's actually there.
I knew he was going to be in it.
I had no idea he was going to be in it. So then they go to sit down at this bar, which is like a 1-to-1 to how the movie started.
The
So
first
that was
part,
really
which
good.
is great. It was like that.
And then he's like, "Give me the dildos. Let me look at the dildo briefcase."
I just
You
love
guys
how the
don't understand me.
demographic to the first half of this episode and the second half is so not the
Such
same.
a fucking 180. And you know what's funny too is I guarantee you, if we look at the shorts,
Mm-hmm.
the ones for Drive Away Dolls will perform better
Probably.
because it's more niche.
Yeah.
Look, man. This movie was short. It was
sweet.
sweet. It was a lot of sex. It came, really just like from the first minute that it showed up.
Yeah.
It's just like she's sitting on her face. And you're
Jonah
like-
Hill's
you're like,
angry
wow.
fucking sister.
Yes. But I gotta give it like it's a bad movie. I did not have fun. I would say you could watch it on streaming, but like get really high first.
Yeah. I also absolutely loved the two cops, the two not cops, who were the buddies.
Oh yes, the
in it,
buddies.
who
Their
just had that
banter
dyna-
was fucking perfect.
It was great the
Yeah.
entire time. And like I said to you after we walked out of the movie, the first time in years that I left the movie theater because of a fucking twist that happened that caught me so off
Oh, yeah.
guard, I didn't know what to do. Where he
the one
just
guy goes
shoots
postal
them.
and he fucking shoots
And
everybody.
he runs off. And they don't wrap that up. That's the
No.
last time you see
Yes,
that guy.
Drive Away Dolls too.
And I love that because it would every
Driving
movie
harder.
you see I'll let you poo-poo. Every time you see a character in a movie nowadays,
Yeah.
it's like
They have to have the explanation of their origin,
Oh,
what's going on,
every
and then
single
after the
character,
fact.
it's like a Quentin Tarantino kind of thing where
Yeah.
every scene that shows up is important.
Mm.
And it was kind of fun in this to be like,
Bang, 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 bang.
no,
Run
it
away.
doesn't matter. This is a story about these two girls and
Yeah.
everyone else is in their story.
Mm.
Their story beyond this does not matter.
Yes.
And the biggest and best example of that is that no one likes Curly. No one cares for Curly, and they left Curly for dead. The guy who sold them the car to drive down,
Oh,
who
yeah,
got his
yeah,
ass
yeah,
beat,
he's
he's
just-
lying there, and he throws the paper, and he's just like, why does nobody help Curly? I'm like, this poor guy.
Yeah, a lot of the comedy came through and was pretty
It
fucking
was
funny.
good. It was
Yeah.
funny. And then they walked in, the two cops walked into this very distinctly like bar that was specifically for local black people who were like into like just like their own genre of music that
Oh,
white
yes.
people clearly don't go to. And they just wandered in, and that in itself is a joke and a trope that they use in
Yeah.
movies all the time. And then they didn't acknowledge it at all. They
He
just
just
sat
walked in,
down and
yeah.
had a conversation with a guy and then left. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why did you set that up to not use
You're like,
it?
what was the whole point? Just to make me uncomfortable while these characters were talking?
Like,
I'm fucking confused.
Just to be like, oh, we're uncomfortable like they are. But
Yeah.
then he went in charismatic like he was the whole rest of the movie.
Yep.
And he didn't bat an eye. So I'm like, why did
Uh-huh.
you make me uncomfortable? Like, you made this seem like
There's
this
a
was
lot
going
of
to go
very
really
particular,
downhill.
like, there's a lot of particular choices made in this movie
Yeah.
that feel like they don't make sense from like a design standpoint or like the LSD transitions where there's things that happen and characteristical aspects, but then they don't relate to it.
It was world building that didn't connect.
For an hour and 20
So
minute
you
movie.
knew where you were and what
Yes.
was happening because of all this shit, but none of it really directly
Mhm.
affected the characters, which is why we were like, what the fuck is happening? But at the same time, I enjoyed it because it made sense to me.
Yes. I think I want to move on to our last movie of the day
Ooh,
that I feel like we could do.
the Outdash Laws,
The Outdash Laws. Not the Outlaws, the Outdash Laws.
also by Netflix.
Starring Pierce Brosnan. What a... So the fact that
What a fun,
Avatar,
bad
the
time.
fact that Avatar came out this week was like a saving grace to us. Because if we had to talk about Drive Away Dolls, and the Outlaws, this is going to be the worst episode we've ever done.
Yeah,
My God, because there was a movie that I didn't like.
Yeah.
And a movie that was just flat out bad.
yeah.
I'm
Can you
not even
imagine
gonna
if
let you
we
guess.
also like didn't watch Avatar and we watched Miller's Girl instead?
Oh, what a
It
bad
just
episode
Miller's
this would've
Girls,
been.
The Outlaws, and Drive Away
We'd
Dolls.
be having conversations about our analytics and how bad they are, and we go, I can't imagine why. So I'm not even going to let you guess. This is Rotten at a 21. Audience scores a 35. This is... How do I even describe this movie? So,
Middle of the road, acceptable, but will not watch again.
So this... No. I wouldn't even say that. Pierce Brosnan is the only standout
Great.
guy.
He's so great.
He's funny as hell. Basically, guy is gonna get married to girl. Girl's parental trope of parents never being around. Parents show up and they're bank robbers.
Yeah.
And then proceed to rob boyfriend's bank. And then
I think I just kind of liked it because of all the Blink references to the one song. Just
Oh,
made
yeah.
me kept chuckling.
what was the
She left me roses by the stairs,
And that
and
was
then
the-
like that was just the only way to get into the
yes,
vault.
that was a
And then-
password.
And then like it felt like it needed to have a bit more of a payoff, but it didn't. And then they just played the full song in the
Right at the
credits.
end? Yeah, it was
and I'm
like-
like, that's not.
I mean, like, I get the joke.
Yeah,
like,
but like you got to pay that off a bit more. Like maybe have like
that was probably the best scene in the movie too. 'Cause
have
they're
like Tom show up or something like in
Exactly.
the bank. Like yeah,
they're like, all right, so I need you to open up the bank vault. And he goes, what's the password? He goes, she left me roses by the stairs. And he goes, don't fuck with me. She left me roses by the stairs. It was good.
that was funny. And then also the fact that Pierce Brosnan was like
He was fucking
barking
unhinged.
at him. He was,
Yes.
and like I have never seen someone get stepped on the back of their foot and internalize the feeling.
The actual feeling.
Motherfucker,
Yes.
so good in my life.
Pierce Brosnan in this movie is just so
Overrated and overqualified for this role.
yes, especially in the beginning when he goes to do the whole introduction.
Yeah.
He's like, he's like talking to the son, and Pierce Brosnan is acting the shit out. Whatever
He's
the
doing
fuck.
so
He's like,
good.
do you want me to? And he like forces that, and you're like, I've been in that situation.
Yeah.
And what you're doing, I felt in my head, but I
Yeah.
was never gonna do out loud. Where he's
Yeah. And it's just the guy who's the lead in this, who's from like Workaholics, Pitch Perfect, whatever.
fucking.
He just did not. He did have the awkwardness.
He doesn't have the star power to lead a movie like this.
No, also, but like, it was a Adam Sandler produced movie, which we
Was it?
didn't know. Remember, it started and it said Happy Gilmore. I mean,
Oh,
Happy
that's right.
Madison.
Yes, yes, yes.
And we were like, what? Who was this made for? Because
I
it
don't know.
seems like it was made for you and me because of the Blink and Shrek references. But,
You're right.
but at the same time, the rest of the movie doesn't seem like it was made for us. It seems like they wrote a movie and then they went, who do we want to watch this?
Yeah.
Throw in those
No, it
references.
feels like, right? So the problem with streaming services as a whole, right, is when streaming services, when new ones come out, it's about the back catalog and it's the original stuff to try and pull people in. Depending on the back catalog you have, that'll pull people in, like Disney, for example, but how far can that back catalog go? So they have to make original stuff.
Yeah.
But as you know, right, if you make all original stuff and it's all good, like Apple TV Plus, as just an example, nobody's going to fucking watch it because it's the small list of things and nothing really stands out above the others. So you have to have filler content to fill out the schlock.
Yeah.
So it feels like this is one of those movies where they're like, we're just going to have this to say there's a new original movie out that when people are scrolling through looking for the one that they want,
Yeah.
this is in there just to fill it in so it doesn't look empty.
Okay.
It looks like an expensive fucking way to go about that.
Yeah.
But it feels like it's for no one. It feels like it's for no one and nobody wanted to watch it and no one wants any fucking part of it. But it's just there to be filling like a tax write-off to be like, yeah, we did something this year. That's whatever.
Yeah.
Somebody needs to get fucking paid.
Well, because it wasn't a great movie and you just mentioned tax write-offs, I kind of want to talk about this a little bit.
Coyote versus Acme.
Yes. And also,
Didn't something else just get
Oh,
canceled too?
that's the real one I want to talk about.
Which one?
The Spider-Verse art style Batman Beyond movie would have been glorious. It would have been so good.
Yeah.
And I heard saw this quote where they're just like, where they're pitching it. They walked in,
Mhm.
they're like, before you even do this, it's gonna be a no. And they were like, can you just please listen to the pitch? And then
Mhm.
afterwards they're like, that was great, but we still can't do it. And I'm like, why? What do you have against Batman Beyond?
Because
Why?
Warner Brothers
Give me my childhood.
Warner Brothers is supposedly going to go on sale within the next few months.
They went on sale a while ago.
Warner Brothers Discovery is going to go on sale. That's the entire point that they're supposed to.
So
leaks
what the
and things,
fuck's
right?
gonna
I'm not in
happen
it.
with the James Gunn universe? Are they gonna start from scratch again?
No, because also apparently James Gunn and Peter Safran are supposed to come out this week to be like, here's the roadmap for the next 10 years.
Stop doing that.
Yeah.
Stop doing
Stop
that.
it.
Give me a movie one at a time. I'll take it as it comes. Once you settle in and we're excited,
Mhm.
then be like, hey, next year, these two are coming out.
Yeah.
I don't need to know 9 years in advance.
Marvel did it before and it was cool before. Once
But
you
even
get
with
past phase
Marvel,
3, it's
what
too much.
made that fun for me
Yeah.
was being a child and not looking at a roadmap, not being on social media,
Yeah.
following, doing
Well, we were
whatever.
different.
Me
That's
watching
fine.
Thor and going, there's a lot of Avengers in here.
Yeah.
Is the next movie going to be the Avengers?
Yeah, because now it's gonna right. So when you go on YouTube or Instagram or something, you have a lot of these comic pages that are like, "Man, this is what my universe would look like if I were to make it," and it's ridiculous because it'll be like Superman, grounded, blah
Yeah.
blah blah blah, and then they're showing you their theoretical 10-year road, and
Yeah.
by the end they're like, "Crisis on Infinite Earths, Batman 24, 17 Batman, whatever."
Yeah.
This is what it's gonna feel. He's gonna be like, "So here's Batman: Brave and the Bold starts filming in a few months," and by the end of the thing, he's like, And the 4th Batman movie will have Batman Beyond showing up in live action for the
I don't
first
need
time.
any of that.
No.
We
It's
still
too
haven't
fucking
even
much.
gotten the Batman 2 yet.
That's the only one
We're
I want.
still getting leaks about it, and it's just like,
I know.
just give me how long
Even the
ago did it
Penguin
come
show.
out?
I don't want the fucking Penguin TV show. I've said this so many times
That
on the
got
podcast.
announced when that movie came out.
Well, the Penguin is done filming now.
So where is it?
HBO Max at some point. I don't want that. I don't want a new Batman. I don't want Brave and the Bold. I don't even want you to talk about folding fucking Robert Pattinson in. I just want the Batman more.
What is with this long, drawn-out timeline for
Investment.
shows and movies now, but at the same time, they never see... They're always like, nah, but it didn't look good because we didn't have enough time to do this.
The
It's just
Batman
like,
is a
you had
special case.
all the time. But like,
the Batman started filming in like 2018. And then because of COVID was delayed and didn't come out until like 21 or 22.
Yeah.
Right? And at that point, because you're years on, it's post-COVID when everybody's trying to do as much as they can. I'm sure the problem right now isn't creative differences or whatever. I'm sure it's, oh no, we have these 20 actors, but they're all tied into other things, so we need to find a way for them to come back together.
I don't like how things take this long, especially with TV shows and stuff like that, because it was like also got confirmed, like, I think it's a bit older, but semi-recently, that like Wednesday season 2 isn't even coming out this year, it's coming out next year. And
because she's doing stuff. That's the
but
problem.
I don't understand what's wrong with Netflix, because this isn't... Sorry, I'm drinking a lot of coffee. This isn't the only example of them going, here's a first season of a TV show. Everyone loved it. Great. We'll be back in 3 years.
Yes.
It's not even just them. The House of the Dragon.
House of the Dragon, fucking The Mandalorian.
If you are setting up a TV show, you have to, especially these big budget ones.
Yeah.
If you're that confident in what it's gonna be, stop writing one season as a whole and being like, let's wait
do
to see.
what Lord of the Rings did.
Do it.
Just fucking like record everything at the same time and then put it out over time.
But like even with that, keep writing.
Yeah.
You're just working on season 1. Now that the writers are done with their job, have them start on season 2. Keep this going. Why are you doing shows like they're movies with sequels?
Because they're trying to have. It's the same thing, right?
But I care less now.
I'm going to connect it to something like Apple, right? Initially, when the iPhone came out, Steve Jobs' goal was to have one thing because everybody could have the one thing, keep it simplified.
Yeah.
As time went on, right before he died, they're like, all right, you know what? iPhone 6, 6 Plus, or this was right after he died, diversify a little bit. Now, if you look at Apple, at any one point right now, you could buy the iPhone 15, 15 Plus, 15 Pro, 15 Pro Max. You could buy the 14 and the 14 Plus, the 13 and the 13 Mini. You could buy all these on their website, plus the SE and then like refurbished stuff.
Yeah.
Too many options.
Yeah.
Streaming services are doing the same thing. And all these other companies are doing the same thing. Where they saw what happened initially, like Netflix will do Orange is the New Black and they'll put all their money into that or like the Netflix shows and shit.
Yeah.
And they can stay mono-focused. But as time goes on, people don't like this. You see other streaming services are successful with this other thing. So you have these chairmen of like 10 people. And each one of them is looking over 10 different genres on their own or 10 different projects. So there can't be this mono-focus on these 2 series that are doing so good. They're everywhere. And that's the problem. The fact that you can't have a group of people or however many people focused on 2 things, they're focused on these 2 things for now.
And
but next week, they're doing the other thing.
It's only going to get worse.
100%.
Of the one problem I have with streaming services is that lately it
There's
seems
too
like there's too many. But now they're consolidating.
Some of them are, yes, which is the right thing to do.
But now that problem that you just described means it's going to get worse because they're not going to hire someone else to take on the fucking Peacock shows when they fucking merge with Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
That guy at Paramount Plus is going to be like, I own all of you.
Yes.
And
then Disney Plus is going to merge with Hulu. It's a whole thing.
It needs to. Why am
it's
I paying?
The same fucking thing.
Yeah, why am
Everything
I paying?
From Disney Plus is on Hulu.
Why am I paying extra to have both when you're just the same company?
Yeah.
And so like you're gonna have Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus all in one thing. You're gonna have Paramount, Peacock, Mount Cock Mountain, and you have HBO Max has Discovery on it. There's already certain things from like
It's actually just Max now.
Max. I'm sorry. Clearly, I'm here for the Discovery.
It's like HBO's 4th fucking streaming service too.
Yeah, and Amazon's fine. Amazon's doing its own thing.
Amazon needs to fix their fucking app, okay?
Yeah.
Their Prime Video app is the fucking garbage.
But I'm saying, like, so it's going to come down to coming back to Amazon, Netflix,
the Disney
Hulu,
Mount Cock,
and HBO. So you have 5.
Yes.
And then we just talked about Warner Brothers being sold off, so that means HBO is probably going to be tossed into one of those other bundles.
If Max could just fold in with Mount Cock, it'd be perfect.
I just remembered something.
What?
So you can get a Paramount Plus subscription with Amazon.
Yeah.
So now they just should bundle with that. So it's just the Amazon Mount Cock.
Mount Amazon Cock.
Mount Amazon Cock. The most diverse streaming service we have to date.
With the worst app.
Versus Netflix and Disney Dulu. Lululemon.
Dulu N plus.
Yes.
That's it.
Dulu
Dulu N plus because it has
N
ESPN
plus
in
to the
there.
max.
See, but now the good thing is though is because there's so many streaming services, I think as they consolidate, things will get more expensive, but it'll be easier to have everything, right? Because like I have HBO Max through T-Mobile,
Yeah.
and Disney or Apple TV Plus comes through whatever. So I only actually pay for I think Disney yearly.
Yeah.
So that brings it in. I feel like the more that they consolidate, the better it'll be for the big picture long term.
Yeah.
It's just there's too much fucking content everywhere.
Yeah.
It's constantly happening. And all the content, because there's so much of it, not all of it's good. Most of it is just okay.
I also need more options that happen like your Apple TV thing where
Yeah.
I can just have them in one app so I can go through all of them so I don't have to be like, okay, let me open up Netflix. No new shows that I want to watch on there, but I have this thing that I'm
Yeah.
kind of watching. I want to just open something up and be like, ding, 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 like TV channels.
Yes.
We're going backwards.
Yes,
and,
we are. That's what they said was going to happen.
And I just want to be able to go through a
Mhm.
channel guide or
Yes.
something like that and just be like, out of my streaming services, what can I watch? Not, I have to open up all these individually.
You know what's funny too is the Apple. I don't know if it's just my TV or if it's a permissions thing, but Netflix doesn't show up on my Apple TV app. It's just every other streaming service and then that one.
Yeah, it's
And
definitely
even right now, HBO Max won't show up either.
time to bring back Redbox and Best Buy. Best Box, new streaming service.
Okay, so we're at like the hour 20 mark. Let's
Are we really?
are we? Like hour 10.
Okay.
Let's bring things to a bit of a close.
Okay.
Brandon.
Yeah. This has been
No, we're not there yet.
a good week.
Uh,
I could tell.
what happened last week?
We went over bad movies.
What were the bad movies?
I don't remember.
You don't remember?
No.
There's only one.
We just talked about
With
it too.
great responsibility.
Comes a bad film called Madam Web.
Yes, last week we talked about Madam Web and Sony's questionable Spider-Man universe. Next week, what are we doing?
We are going over. Back to you, Miguel.
All Dune, all the time.
Yes.
So much Dune, except for the original one. I don't want to sit through
Leave a
that.
comment below if you want us to bring the bucket on set.
Ready? This is how it'll go. I got the bucket.
And then just leave it on the side and just never. So that's kind of. I don't like that. I just thought I heard liquid. I do want to get it just because it is now like
A meme?
a meme, and
Oh,
then
you wanna
like
put it on the set?
slowly build the set to where like when we don't have a green screen here eventually,
Which is the
it's
goal,
just like
yes.
people see behind it. That's the Dune bucket.
You know what's really funny too is the green screen was initially meant to be like
Just a way to neaten things up.
not even neating things up. It was just meant to be like a cool thing, so we
Yeah.
could like put stuff behind us. And then we realized that
We like
on the green screen, if you put things behind you, it kind of just makes it look really shitty
Yeah.
instead of just having real stuff.
Yeah.
And we're not phenomenal video editors, so we can't make it look like there's real stuff behind us.
Yeah.
So now it's the green screen isn't filler, but it's meant to clean things up
Yeah.
up until we have a set. Because otherwise, you look behind, there's like a fucking fridge over there, and there's
Yeah.
fucking freezer over here.
Dehumidifier in the corner,
There's
like
the pile of fucking.
a bar sign behind that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah,
But
so-
no, I think it's a good. Maybe should we just start buying popcorn buckets? But I also feel like they're expensive and
no.
they're shitty.
They're too
Just certain things.
that one, like other things like that. Like anytime like a meme thing comes out
Mhm.
or a big thing, like put it out, and then eventually when we have the shelves, you can put up like
Yeah.
the
The Dune bucket.
the Dune bucket, the nice lightsabers that we had, a couple pops that we just leave there, like we
Ooh.
wanted to originally
Yeah.
with having that table in front of us that clearly did not work.
No, it did not.
But if we have shelves behind
If you go back
us,
to episode like 50 something when the set was first being built, it's
Yeah.
just it's over time. It's like tons of pop culture media, less, 3 Funko Pops, no Funko Pops,
just nothing. Because
And now it's just now the goal is to be clean.
yeah, well, we also we have like so many things that we could put up here,
Yeah.
and then we did like 10 episodes where like we keep putting out like 15 things each episode. We're already out of shit.
Oh yeah. Well, now it's different. Now it's about the simplicity and the cleanliness of the bar. It's the
Yeah.
way that things look behind us. It's
Yeah.
the lineup of like
bit
having an
more
establishing
polished
shot
look.
in this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down the road, definitely. One of us needs to fucking move into a bigger house.
Yeah.
And or we just make some money. That'd be really nice.
Yeah, but we have to get to 1,000 subscribers and have some sponsors.
That would be really nice.
Yeah.
I think we got an email the other day or yesterday too about somebody like wanting to collaborate, but I don't know if
Oh.
it's a bot or not, so I haven't replied to it.
Okay, well,
We can
should
look
take
at
a
it when we're
that.
done. Yeah.
But just subscribe,
Subscribe. Tell your friends.
hit that bell, follow us on TikTok, Instagram.
For my
This is
sporadic
YouTube.
posting.
We also have a just audio version on Spotify.
Yes,
and,
we
like,
do. An
Apple
audio version
Podcasts.
that is the least watched thing out of any of our content, which
seems
is
weird
funny.
because I feel like podcasts are mainly audio based.
Yes, but it's also our big focus is not right. If our focus was the audio version, audio
Yeah.
quality would be our first thing. So I would be practicing mixing, and we would have splurged on good microphones from the minute that we started.
Yeah.
And we just don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So the big focus now is like cameras and green screen and lighting and shit. It's been a really fun episode. I like
It
this.
has. It went well. It's growing on me doing the morning one with coffee rather than alcohol.
Yeah,
Because we used to use the alcohol to be like, oh, we're having fun, we're goofy,
we're
doing
loosening up.
whatever.
But then once you get past like the 25-minute
You're
mark,
like,
we're too
I'm
drunk.
still drinking, and what?
We're just
Who?
and that's just like if you watch the MCU tier list, especially
Oh
the
my
compiled
God.
one,
Yeah.
the first hour is good.
And then it's just me
The
screaming.
middle hour is just us like being tired, and then the third hour is screaming.
Yeah.
It's fucking hilarious.
But also having 2 giant mugs of coffee.
Mine was an energy drink.
I've reached a point now where the caffeine has transcended me. And now I just have a head
reached
buzz from all the
euphoria.
fucking caffeine.
Really?
I'm just zoning out.
Yeah, my butt hurts. All right, so you want to call it?
Yeah.
Folks, my name is Miguel.
And I'm Brendan. This has been the Anything Bowl. Where anything goes. Thank you, Miguel.
Bye.